106.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Nice looking day out there. I'm going to tell you something obvious. A biologist studies biology. It's obvious, right?
Exactly.
A meteorologist doesn't study meteors. He studies things in the sky, right? Like the weather, right? Right? A hopeologist. Now, this is going to be interesting. What is a hopeologist? Or is it hopeologist? Am I saying it wrong? Hopeologist?
No, hopeologist.
Studying hope. Dr. Rosalind Lewis Tompkins is on the phone. She is a hopeologist, and she's a survivor of drug and alcohol addiction. She's the founder and president of Mothers in Crisis, an advocate for ending drug and alcohol addiction, and a columnist for the Tallahassee Democrat newspaper. Oh, really? See, I used to be up there. April is National Month of Hope. Dr. Rosalind Lewis Tompkins. Good morning. It's an honor, Doctor. Thank you for being on our show.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here, and also in the state of Florida.
Where are you right now? Are you in Tallahassee?
I'm in Tallahassee, yes.
I love Tallahassee. It is a pretty city, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Very beautiful.
So
lots of trees.
Are you affected by the politics of the city, though? Does that happen for you?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now I'm more of a national, and I've done some international work as well.
Is that right? So first I want to ask you about the hopeologist. Tell me about that.
Well, hopeologist is my trademark moniker with the U.S. Patent Office. And you're absolutely right. Basically, a hopeologist is someone who studies hope, and not only studies hope, but believes that we can change the world through hope. And that's pretty much what we've been doing, and that's why we're so excited about the first ever National Month of Hope.
I love it. You know what? The one thing I probably am to a fault is optimistic. And somebody who's optimistic always has hope. And I sometimes wonder if it's not detrimental to be so optimistic that things will work out okay. But you know what? So far, they all have. For me, anyway.
Absolutely. Well, research studies have found that people who are hopeful excel in life, live longer, and live well. So you're on the right track.
Oh, that is really good. Well, because here's the way I look at it. If I look backwards in time, you know how we always reminisce, I want to go back to those days. Well, the only reason you want to go back there is because you know how it ends. You know that worry you had about the mortgage? You know that worry you had about the car breaking down? You know that worry about everything? Well, for the most part, it worked out, didn't it?
Right. And hope is future oriented, so it keeps us looking forward and expecting good things to happen.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we are on the right track as far as that goes. So, tell me about your addictions, and because it clearly must have been a dark, hopeless time for you.
Oh yes, it very much was. I started smoking marijuana when I was 12 years old. And I snorted my first line of cocaine when I was 17, and I was headed to Florida State University.
Wow.
And over a 12-year addiction, I used mushroom tea, the hallucinogenic drugs, and I also had a small bit on crack cocaine, and I went through so many dark places because of my addiction. I talk about it in my book, As Long as There's Breath in Your Body, There's Hope. But just to name a few, I had several psychotic episodes that landed me in the psychiatric wards of hospitals. I carried a baby for 6 months, and I had to deliver her stillborn. But hope finally came for me when I got pregnant with my daughter, Jannar, who is now 30 years old, and I'm 31 years clean.
Wow.
And when she came along, it's just like, okay, that's my baby of hope, and I renewed my faith in God, and everything turned around.
All right, so you mentioned something I didn't realize, that this is a book that's been out a while already. As Long as There is Breath in Your Body. That's the title of the book.
Yes, there is hope.
There is hope. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to make sure I put the cover of the book on our podcast right now. So you've kind of grasped onto hope for a long time. Did you ever feel like it was in vain?
There's been moments, and that's one of the reasons why I really love this season, because now I have a hope squad, and which includes my husband, who is very hopeful. And so if I ever feel, like I'm going down, or my helium, the helium in my balloon of faith is going down, because that's what I call hope, helium in the balloon of faith. And if I feel it going down, I have people around me that can help pump me back up, and we do the same thing for one another. We've created a hope sphere, and that's the challenge that we are launching during this April, the National Month of Hope, and we want to go throughout the whole year of 2018 to inspire over 10,000 hope connections so that people can begin to have hope and spread hope.
And this is the very first year, so you had a tough road ahead of you to get this recognized.
Yes, it's fun. It's been fun. It's like I've always been a pioneer when I started Mothers in Crisis, but 27 years ago, and then now I feel that kind of same energy, just plugging away. I've been talking to people through the radio, this radio tour all around the nation, and people are hearing and they're catching on, and I believe that before long, look 5 years out, it'll be really established in our nation as the month of hope.
Nice. I like that.
When your daughter was growing up, were you able to recognize signs in her that might have been troubling her, leading her down a wrong path, and you were able to nip it in the bud?
Yes, that was my whole mission, that she would not go down the path I went down, and she has not. She's like I said, she's 30 years old. She graduated from college. She's a teacher. She loves it. She's married. She has 3 kids. I have 3 wonderful grandchildren, and so I always told her, though, since she was a baby, I said, Jannar, I was your first life's mission. Mission accomplished, baby girl. You changed my world. I'm also a poet, and that's one of the poems that I wrote for her, my baby girl. So I think I've kind of instilled in her importance and purpose from the time she came, and it's really helped her along the way to avoid those pitfalls that I went through.
I love that story, and it's funny that the bad things that you went through actually serve you in your role as a parent. It just seems like had you not gone through some of those things, maybe you couldn't have been as effective.
Well, probably not, and especially as a single parent, because I was a single parent for all her life. I'm celebrating 4 years of marriage, blissfully married now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yes, as a single parent, that really served because I knew some of the things that were out there, and I knew the signs, and I wasn't paranoid about it, but I just wanted to keep her hopeful throughout her life.
So help me with this. I have a little metaphor. This is going to be Barbara Walters kind of a question. If you're down in a well and there's no way out, in other words, no hope, and suddenly there's a rope there, and not because it rhymes with hope, but there's a rope. That rope becomes your hope. Oh, gosh, that's crazy. But like, what is the rope? Oh my gosh, the rope of hope. What is the rope of hope for every? I mean, we're not in a well. So what is the rope of hope? Is it religion? Is it a good career? Is it a happy marriage? What is it?
Well, now that's a really good, insightful question, because it goes right into the challenge that we're launching during this April National Month of Hope. We're challenging people to think hope and then to make hope connections. Now, it starts in your mind. When you choose to think hope, you can look at that rope. Someone that's thinking hope will see that rope as a way out of the situation. As you begin to think hope, you can find solutions. But whenever you're thinking the opposite, despair and hopelessness, everything looks dark, you don't even try, you give up. The suicide rate has increased for America over the year, 24%, by 24% over the years of 1999 and 2014. Yeah. So this is, I believe, America's facing a hope crisis. And whenever you begin to think hope, and then once you have hope, we have 7 steps of a successful hope chat that now you can spread hope.
You do? Okay, I love that. Can you share the 7 steps with us?
Yes, I would be delighted. Number 1, you have to identify, because there are people that are in silent desperation all around us. You never know what may be going on. And so you identify someone who needs hope. Number 2, you prepare. And how you prepare, you have to put on 2 things: faith, And that's the belief that things can get better, and unconditional love, because you're going in love and not in judgment. And then number 3, you have to go. That's the thing. That's the action. Even if they come to you, it's still action, or you go to them. And then you just let them know you want to check on them and see how they're doing. And then number 4, you listen. You listen with a hope face. You listen with a warm face of empathy. And then once they finish sharing with you, number 5 is you encourage them. And you may say something like, well, I can understand how you may see things or how you may feel that way. And then you empower them from that. But you say, well, what is it that you really want? What do you want? And then you say, number 6, as empowerment, you ask them permission. May I share something with you that may be helpful? And then hopefully they'll say yes. And then you share your advice, your suggestions, your resources. And then number 7, you wrap up. And you wrap up with something like, just know I'm here for you, I care about you, and remember, as long as there's breath in your body, there is hope. So we call it Ip Glee Woo. And we've been seeing some amazing things happen since I've been training people and coaching people in these 7 steps. Amazing things happen as we're spreading hope.
I think one of those, the challenge is that you had just said the question, what do you want? I think that's the hardest thing for somebody to answer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, the thing that I found, you'd be surprised what they want, because you may see what they need, but when they say what they want, then, oftentimes it's totally opposite. So what I always say is that before I can take you to Orlando, to Disney World, and you are trying to go in the opposite direction to, let's say, Pensacola, where I was born, I'm going to have to go to Pensacola with you, and then I can take you to Disney World. So in other words, when you ask someone what they want, I had a client one time who was pregnant. She was using drugs, and I was sent out to get her in treatment. That was my job. And it was obviously what she needed, and she was crying, and she was pregnant. I asked her, I said, well, what can I do for you? What is it that you want? And she said, I want to see my kids. Her other kids had been taken, and her father had custody. She said, I want to see my kids. And then I looked at her. I said, well, you know what? I can help you with that. I said, but it's something else I need you to do for me. I need you to get into treatment to take care of that baby that you're carrying. So I'll help you see your kids. And I did. And then she went into treatment. And that was one of the success stories that we've had over the years. And
was she reunited with those children and her dad? Do you know?
Eventually they had joint custody. Now they're all grown, because that was many years ago. Because 27 years, we've been celebrating 27 years, so that was years ago. But they're all grown. But eventually they did share joint custody. She did have a drug-free baby, that baby she was carrying. So it just made the difference, the approach.
Thank God.
So if I'm walking down a path, if I'm walking down a trail, and the trail is getting rocky, and the sun is sweltering hot, and there's no water, and it doesn't look like there's any hope at all, and I find a little note on the ground, and I pick up that note, and it says, call me, I've been down this road before. And I call the number, and it goes to Dr. Tompkins. Then you tell me, oh, thank you for calling me, because I've been down that road before, and let me tell you something, it works out. Just keep moving. To me, that's what it sounds like you're doing. It sounds like you're saying, look, I've been down that road before. You know what it reminds me of? When I was a kid, I got fired from a job, and it just blew me away, because I didn't feel like it was fair, and just, oh gosh, it bummed me out. And my father said to me something I never knew. He said, I got fired when I was a kid too. And just knowing that he had been fired was like, really? And all of a sudden, everything changed for me, because I knew, oh, okay, so he's been down that road too. And I guess it worked out for him. It should work out for me. And the same thing sounds like what you're doing.
Yes, that brought hope. I always say hope is like a light in the midst of a dark tunnel. It just takes a flicker. And then it can make all the difference in the world. It gives you a reason to keep going, to even try. And that's what we believe is needed, and that's what we're launching now.
You have a hashtag Hope Challenge. Is that the place where people will go to hear your words of wisdom and interact with you?
They can go to the website at www.think-hope.com or makeahopeconnection.com, and it has all the information on there. It has the 7 steps on there. It has ways that you can become a Hope citizen, a Hope Universe citizen, and become a Hope giver, and join us in what we're doing.
Our guest is Dr. Rosalind Y. Lewis Tompkins. She's a hopeologist, and she's also the author of the book that I just had up here on the podcast called As Long as There Is Breath in Your Body, There Is Hope. I love that. You know, my brother one of my brothers is a veterinarian, and one of my dogs got hit by a UPS truck one time, and unfortunately the dog died, but before the dog died, it was struggling, but he said, where there is breath, there is hope. Right?
Right.
So it's kind of like the same thing, but of course, in that case, we lost hope. You know, so tell me about religion at all. I mean, some people, and I'm one of them, I have hope because I believe that there is a God, and I'm not asking you to agree or disagree with that. I just think some people can hang their hat on that, so to speak.
Oh yes, and that's exactly what brought me through the dark times. My beliefs and my faith. But one thing I say about this hope movement and what we're doing and challenging people with hope is that it's non-denominational. It's everybody needs
right.
hope.
Yeah.
You can only live 3 seconds without hope. So whenever we're talking about hope. For those of us of faith, of course, that's the hope. That's what it is. But for someone else, you know, it may not be that, but then there is still hope.
And being a person that will give hope to others is very therapeutic for the person giving that hope, because sometimes you need a boost as well.
Right. It goes both ways. You can't give it without receiving, and I always receive so much more, and that's the good thing about it. You receive so much more, and it keeps you going. Like I said about ice cream, I love ice cream, and as the saying goes, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
That's right.
Well, I believe that people are screaming for hope silently. They're screaming for hope, and you never know what. And it may be as simple as a relationship issue, although that's not simple when you're going through it.
Yeah,
but
right,
it doesn't have to be drug addiction or some major crises. It's just hopelessness is just something that I believe that we can change the world by bringing hope in every situation.
Do you address false hope? And a good example of false hope would be, somebody's being let go of their job or something like that, and somebody else comes up to them and says, I'm trying to think of a good example of false hope. Or some, I know what it would be. Let's use my dog as an example. So my dog was run over by a UPS truck, and somebody says, she'll be okay. Well, that's false hope because she wasn't going to be okay. How do you deal with that?
Well, I wouldn't have said she would be okay. I would have said you will be okay. And so as we're talking, hope is future oriented. So you'll be okay. Yes, it'll hurt for a while, and you can think about how one day you'll be able to help another dog, and it'll be wonderful. So just kind of looking to the future, looking out above over the problem of what's happening now, just kind of helping people to do that. And I know it's not an easy thing, especially, and I've been through some hellhole experiences, and while you're doing it, while you're there, it's really hard. But what I say is this: when you plant those seeds of hope, and that's what we're asking people to do, because I can think about different conversations that people had with me, whereas it may not have changed things right away or changed me, but I thought about that. I thought it became that place, like what you said your dad said to you whenever you had lost your job.
Right.
And it just planted seeds of hope, like, well, he's okay, so, I'll probably be all right.
Right.
And just being willing to do that.
In this world today, there's a lot of people that feel that they're entitled to this and entitled to that, and that the government is going to solve all their problems. How do you get them not to think that way anymore, but to depend on themselves to move forward?
Yes, that's a good question, because that's the empowerment piece, because the hope that we're talking about also stands for helping others practice empowerment. And whenever you help people to find their purpose, then all of a sudden, they have hope. So it's not about looking at what someone can give me or what I can receive, but it's why am I here? Why am I here? And helping someone to tap into that place. I mean, it's just amazing to begin to see now the transformation, because that brings hope.
Mm-hmm. Happiness and hope seem to go hand in hand. I can imagine somebody who's hopeless is also not very happy.
Yes, it's that place of depression, and it's that dark place. But the good thing is, you don't have to end your life. You don't have to throw in the towel and give up. You can continue just to press through and see those different flickering lights of hope along the way, and just believe that it's going to get better. Things are going to get better, and they often do, because like you said, when you think about some of the things you've already gone through, when you were going through them, it seemed like the end of the world.
Yes, right.
So that's another thing you have to do, is just to remember.
All right, so we want to help you make sure that April is the National Month of Hope, or that the word gets out about it. Let's see, you gave us the website, makeahopeconnection.com. There's the hashtag Hope Challenge. Anything else that will help you spread the word?
Well, just also they can go to the National Day Calendar for the Month of Hope, and they'll see that how it was designated as April, the National Month of Hope. And just encouraging everyone just to think hope, make hope connections, spread hope, because there is hope.
Absolutely. Well, you are a hopeful person.
I love you.
Dr. Rose, you're a breath of fresh air. Dr. Tompkins, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. We did record this, so it'll be up as a podcast later on. Of course, it was live just now, just so you know. And again, awesome. For the listeners, the website is makeahopeconnection.com, and I found a few pictures on there that I was able to use on the podcast. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. God bless you guys. Love you guys, too.
Thank you. We love you, too. We'll be right back.
Ocala Aviation now has opportunities for flight instructors.
Wait, hold on. Brad, is this correct? You're looking for instructors, not students?
Actually, we're looking for both.
Well, that's descriptive.
Well, I need flight instructors because we're now affiliated with a major university and can offer 4-year degrees. Plus, we're also approved to work directly with VA students.
Okay, so a degree in what, and what's a VA student?
Well, it's a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, which includes a commercial pilot's license, and there's financial aid available. By VA students, I mean veterans. They now have access to new benefits to pay for flight training.
Okay, so you have new opportunities for new students. What about the instructor side of it?
Well, with new students, we need more instructors.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So, if anyone out there is a flight instructor, I want to encourage them to come see me. And if they're not an instructor but have their commercial license, we can help them become an instructor.
So they get their instructor license and have a job too.
Exactly.
So you got a lot going on. The VA, the college, and now hiring instructors and future instructors too.
Yep. So now can we get the commercial started?
Already ahead of you.
Call Brad to get your adventure started today at Ocala Aviation, 861-7484. Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump tweets it was his honor to fire FBI Director James Comey, calling him a weak and untruthful slimeball.
Comey, in his new book out next week, describes President Trump as untethered to the truth and ego-driven. In excerpts of the book, Comey described the Trump presidency as a forest fire and wrote that his interactions with the administration recalled his earlier career as a prosecutor against the mob.
Fox's John Decker. A 16-year-old boy in Cincinnati called 911 twice Tuesday, once saying, "Tell my mom I love her if I die," before he couldn't breathe anymore.
Kyle Plush was found crushed to death by the third-row seating of a Honda Odyssey minivan in a school parking lot.
And something went wrong here, and we need to find out why we weren't able to provide that help that we hoped we could have.
Cincinnati Police Chief Elliot Isaac.
That's Fox's Jeff Manasso. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Hi,
Hi, this is Jack from Banyan Hill. You might have heard about that $34.6 billion that's expected to be doled out in what we call freedom checks. Huge checks that are changing people's lives from coast to coast. People like Sean from Pittsburgh. In fact, he's on the phone right now. Sean, you there?
Yes, I am, Jack.
Sean, let me ask you, how do you like getting these massive checks in your mailbox every month?
Well, Jack, we used to put stuff on credit cards living paycheck to paycheck. But now, after we started collecting a specific kind of freedom check, I have to say, life's a lot more fun.
I bet it is. In fact, getting massive freedom checks is fun no matter who you are. And with $34.6 billion expected to be paid out in private, non-government money starting as early as May 1st, now's the time to stake your claim on some cash. To get all the details, go to www.freedomchecks225.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.freedomchecks225.com.
Hi, I'm Russ Moore with Pike Mill. Our relationship with WOCA started in 2009. WOCA is family-friendly, community-involved station. When we moved to our new location on 17th Street in October of 2016, of course, we went to WOCA so they could tell everybody our new location. The folks at WOCA really care about their clients and want them to be successful. For all of your shipping needs, call Pike Mill, and to tell the Ocala area about your business, call WOCA, because WOCA radio gets results.
Are you looking for some spring color? Look no further than Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. For African violets, just $3.99. Purple heather, only $4.99. Budded and blooming gardenias, only $8.99. Huge sun patience, perfect perennials, only $6.99. Can't name them all here, so go to bobwinescamelliagardens.net and check their latest ad for all the real deals. Don't forget, it's tree planting time. Every tree in stock gets automatic discounts of 1/3 to 2/3 off Bob Wine's already super low tree prices. Don't forget Bob's famous no-float pine straw, the perfect mulch, as low as $4.75 a bale when you buy 10. It's now, today, at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Ocala. Daily till 4:30, Saturdays till 3 on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Same blooming location since 1952.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. The Florida Highway Patrol is reporting that a 66-year-old man has died from injuries sustained in a traffic accident on County Road 25A. The man, who was driving a motorcycle, is identified in the report as George McGee of Reddick. According to the report, McGee was traveling southbound yesterday while the other motorist, identified as 30-year-old Jaleesa Tuggle of Ocala, was heading north in a 2002 Toyota Camry. Tuggle attempted to turn left into Lowell Correctional Institution and drove into the path of the motorcycle. Tuggle is listed in serious condition at Ocala Regional Medical Center. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office is reporting the arrest of a 50-year-old man on manslaughter charges for failure to provide life-saving care to his 93-year-old father at his home. The arrested man is identified as Lawrence Camp. Camp's father passed away back in February, but Camp was arrested yesterday. Camp referred to the home as his facility. Deputies say failure to give appropriate care led to a deadly combination of sepsis and other ailments. Camp remains in jail on $1 million bond after the investigation showed his failure to provide life-saving care. Walmart plans to spend $200 million on renovations in Florida stores this year as part of a plan to roll out several in-store and online innovations nationwide. 37 Florida Walmart stores will be getting a makeover, including 12 here in Central Florida. Walmart recently reported strong comp sales growth of 2.1% for the fiscal year ending January 31st. They said this shows customers are responding well to the company's business strategy. Walmart plans to expand several innovative services that deliver greater convenience and faster services, including online grocery pickup, mobile express, scan and go to skip the checkout line, and pickup towers where customers pick up their online orders in less than a minute. A 35-year-old teacher at a Florida private school with the motto exceptional, compassionate, spirited has been jailed and fired after being accused of having sex with one of her students. Shortly after, the Lee County Sheriff's Office arrested Suzanne Owen on Wednesday on a charge of custodial sexual battery on a victim between 12 and 18 years old. Fort Myers Evangelical Christian School fired Owen. The Lee County Sheriff's Office said Owen and the student met for sex off campus last week, and she had been texting with the student for several weeks beforehand. Senator Marco Rubio says promoting democracy is in the vital national interests of the United States.
When we promote democracy, it's largely through the work of non-governmental organizations who may receive assistance from our government. When they undermine democracy, they do it in secret. They hide it and they deny it. We do it openly.
In a Senate hearing yesterday, the Florida Republican argued against supporting countries that undermine democracy. That includes human rights abuses. Rubio made his remarks while questioning Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo. Pompeo has been running the CIA for more than a year. He agreed with the need to promote democracy around the world. Apollo 13 is being remembered. It was 48 years ago, April 13th, 1970. That was to be the third moon landing mission, and it became the first space-going rescue mission. The odyssey of Apollo 13 began with a simple command from Mission Control.
13, we've got one more item for you when you get a chance. We'd like it to stir up your cryo tanks. In addition, I have Shaft and Trunnion for a look at the Comet Bennett if you need it.
Okay, stand by.
That bit of housekeeping